This build series follows my journey as a backyard restorer, resto modding a 1964 EH Holden Panelvan, equipped with not only a 3.8 litre Commodore V6 engine, but also an independent front end, independent rear end, and all the mod cons you'd expect from a true resto mod. All of this thanks to a promise I made to my dying father, ensuring that his last car that he started to restore got finished.
Alright, so the fill work is beginning, well, it's going on in earnest, that's for sure. So I finished the right-hand side, and I just want to sort of, I guess, show you, one, what I've done, and then two, my sort of technique, just if you're wanting to give this a crack. Now, I'm not a panel beater, so there's probably better techniques out there, but this is the technique that I learnt from Dad, and what I've picked up over the years and that as well. If it's not right, you know, chuck a comment in and tell me what I'm doing wrong. But this is sort of what I'm doing is, so I've gone through now and obviously I've done all the windowless panels. So now I needed to just make this bit nice and smooth. So this is probably about a good 3 or 4 layers of fill in there. So I'm only doing like real tiny smears at a time. And as you can see here, like there's one lot, there's another lot, there's another lot, there's another lot, right? And that's because there was a big indent in here. So if you remember this panel here went in, I'd try not to fill it too thick. So I only do like real light smears at a time. And then I can just do a light sand, I can blend it all in. And then as you run your hand along it, you can feel how smooth it is, but also use guide coat. So when I'm going through, I just use a bit of guide coat and I just spray the guide coat on there, and then I can sand, and when I start to break through, and if I've got a low spot, if I've still got guide coat left, like what you do when you're sanding back primer, you can see, oh yeah, I need another little patch in there. So that's sort of, I guess, the technique that I've been using on that. And as you can see, I've gone through and all the side panels done. So this one here was always worrying me a bit as well, is how to finish this bit off, because there was so much rust repair done in there. And I think there's probably still another layer to go, but I want to put it in primer first and just sort of see, because it's sort of hard to, like, I can feel it, and I reckon it'll be still pretty, it won't be flat, but I'll just see how it goes. But yeah, that's sort of that's that bit done. I started doing the rear yesterday as well, and I'll finish doing that off today. And then it's on to the passenger side. So this is what I was saying about here. So I'll be putting on, you know, a smear of filler through there. The biggest thing is I always make sure that it's at least down, so it's an indent sort of thing, so that when the filler goes through, I can at least have a reference point of top and bottom. Where I haven't got it is here, so this bit's sort of sitting a bit high. So what I'm going to have to do is use this as the reference point and then fill up to it and fill back to it, sort of thing. So that one's going to be a bit of a pain, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, and then obviously that big panel there, I think that's had a big stove in. So I've actually replaced that panel now. And then yeah, as you can see, that's what I was talking about on the other side, where you sort of make it up the best you can with the steel, but yeah, there's going to be a bit of work in getting the shape in that. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about in terms of the guide coat. So as you can see, I've just sanded that flat now, and you can see the little divots, also the little low spots and that. So I'll now come through and put another little coat of filler in that, and then I can sand that flat, and then that's nice and beautiful and smooth. So what I'm looking for, as you can see, I've used that as a reference and that as a reference. So I've just kept the the sander flat through there, knowing that mat is even. And then all I'm doing is looking to get rid of the little bit of guide coat. And because I've got that, I don't want to really go down too much further on that. So I'll just put a little bit of filler through there, and then that'll be all nice and finished. And then, yeah, same with here. I can see that high spot was always going to be there, and there's a little low spot there. So I'm going to put another whole piece over that, so whole smear over that, and try and get that smoothed all the way across. If you remember, I put this full piece in and put a weld across here, and then I was like, yeah, I can just put a little bit of filler through there, which is cool. Did that first bit, got it nice and flat, and went, yep, that looks good. And then I sort of mocked the tailgate up and put the tailgate up and realised that in the middle I've got this massive gap. So the ends were okay. So I did, you know, these bits here were at the right height, but then in the middle here it was just all missing. So what I've now done is I've used a piece of masking tape as a bit of a dam. You know, put it all in there in the bottom of that, and while it's still a little bit wet, I'm just going to pull that off, and as you can see, it's now given me, you know, the form for it. So now I can sand this back down flat again, and as you can see, it's almost like a bit of concrete, you know, like when you put the form work on the concrete, it's nice and flat there. So that's pretty cool. So I'll be able to sort of just shape all that. And then that then should give me that correct height all the way along then. And yeah, it'll look a lot better. So I guess I should explain what I'm doing here, because this is literally the last panel to do of pretty much the entire car. So I've already done the guards, I've already done the bonnet, I've already done the doors, I've already done the tailgates. Everything else, that's all painted and it's in the container. This is literally, I've done the other side, I've done the roof, I've done the back. This is literally the last panel. So my little trusty roller trolley here. Now, when I was younger, I used to always want to just use the orbital, and Dad used to always say to me, no, you need to block the car and that. And I'm like, yeah, but this is quicker, and it's, you know, I think if you can keep it flat, you know, it's just as good as a block. But this was back in the day when we had these old school bloody blocks, right, that you had to sort of get the paper in there, get the sandpaper in there, and, you know, and you're forever changing them, and it's just such a little block to do such a big panel, and it was just so overwhelming. But yeah, in recent times we've got the big blocks now. So these are the DuraBlock ones, and this was a full kit that I bought. So yeah, you got the big one, the medium one, the normal size one, but then you know you've also got a round one, so that's good for like doing, you know, in there. And then like a really small one, again, good for doing on top of that. And it's the first time that I've really blocked down a car using these, because, you know, I only bought these just recently. And, you know, with this primer, and it's amazing just how quickly using a good block with good sandpaper and, you know, a good primer, and just how easy it comes off. Now, I remember growing up and it just was never that easy. And that's why I used to always go, no, I'm going back to the orbital because it can knock it out quicker. But I'm finding that, yeah, using the block on this, it just seems to be coming off pretty quick. So I'm bloody happy with it, actually. And so as you notice that it's in guide coat, and as I'm sanding, doing the crosshatch, you know, and it comes off, right? Wherever there's guide coat left, that means that there's like a little low spot in there, but that's just me. I haven't gone up to that part yet, so that'll flatten out. But what I'm finding is when I come to that, I'm just using this one here, and then all of a sudden, bang, off you go. So I now know that panel is going to be dead flat. It's going to look good under the paint, and then yeah, we should be good to go. So is it going to be show car quality? There's elite level show car builders, and they spend so many more hours on paint on this. It's a street car in the end. It's going to be good. Is it going to be elite level? Probably not. But hey, doing it in the shed, I think it's pretty good. All right, so we're all rubbed back now and I can finally put some colour on. So I've still got to go through and do a bit of a wax and grease remove, so just a prep sole on this, but that'll only take a couple of minutes. So I just want to show you the setup I've got now, bearing in mind we're not a spray painter, so everything I've done is just all self-taught. But I've actually, it's funny, you can spend, upwards of over $1,000 on a decent spray gun and that. And if you're looking for that show car quality, then yeah, you probably would want to spend it on that. But like I went and got 3 of these guns off Amazon and I think they were about $50 each. And they've been bloody good. Like they've actually sprayed really well. And if they're shit, you just throw it in the bin, or if you break it, you just throw it in the bin. But I like these. So they haven't got the traditional cup on top there. What they've got is they've got like a plastic sort of, sleeve sort of thing. So it goes within the cup itself, and there's like a breather on the top there. And then you have, the little slot like that. And basically it sits upside down. So you're not wasting any paint and everything like that. And then at the end, you can just take that whole part out and just throw it in the bin. So it's been really cool. What I've also done is I've gone on Amazon again and bought in bulk. So I've got, and again, it was cheap. Like it wasn't expensive at all. So that's sort of what I've done. And then what I've also gone and done is I bought a couple of them. So now I've got a clear gun, I've got a primer gun, and I've got my base coat gun and my epoxy gun. So, for the price of one decent gun, I've now got, one for every job sort of thing. So yeah, that's pretty cool. The other thing that I've done as well, so the the air compressor setup I've got a water trap there. I'm probably going to put a second trap on as well because it does collect a little bit of water. I've also got my temperature and humidity sort of gauge. So as long as that's under 50%, if it's over 50%, I'm not spraying. But we're in good temperature conditions right now, so 23 and 44, I'm happy with that. But I've also gone, again on Amazon, the little water traps. So they just go in there, and then I've got my pressure gauge. So that's the other thing, is these guns actually come with a little pressure gauge on there. So you can adjust the pressure at the gun. So I can leave it full tilt, up there where where it comes out of the compressor. But I can then adjust it at the gun, which has been really cool. It's been really beneficial. So yeah, that's just a few little bits and pieces that I've picked up, in the spray painting I've been doing, and it's coming out all right. So I'm sure the spray painters out there will probably say something different, but as far as I'm concerned, these have been pretty good. So anyway, I'll put the links. I'll put some of the links to the Amazon stuff in the description. But let's mix up some paint and throw some colour on.
Ready, set, let's go.
So what do you think of the colour? I think it's pretty cool. The colour is it's a PPG colour and it's called slanted brown. And the first time that I saw it, it was at Motorex last year. There was a Tirana there. I can't remember who built it now, but he had like a L34 Tirana and it just looked awesome. As soon as I walked in, I was like, that's the colour I want, because you don't really see it that often. And as you can see in the sun, it's completely different. So in here, it looks more like a real dark gunmetal grey type, sort of thing. But out in the sun, it just pops. So yeah, that's the paint job done and dusted. All I've got left to paint now is just some few little bits and pieces. So like, the dash surround, the instrument cluster surround, the headlight surrounds, just little bits and pieces now. All the big bits are now painted. So that's good. And yeah, it's come time to start assembling it all. So let me know what you think of the comments. What do you think of the colour? Like, I've been sort of waiting to show you what the colour is, only because it's something that you don't really see on EHs. It's not really a colour that you would normally see, like the brown, like this sort of metallic brown. It's very bronzy. This is what I want. And importantly, so in 2 weeks' time, so on the 7th of February, Penrite's having a open day, so a fan day down at Dandenong. So if you're in and around the area, my plan is to get this assembled somewhat so it's rolling, and then have it on display. So I'll have this and the 80 series on display. So make sure you check that out. Come and have a look. I'll leave a link in the comments as well. 7th of Feb, they'll do the livery launch for the supercars team and that as well. So make sure you come down and check that out. And yeah, as for this build, I think the next episode, I'm not sure if it's going to be on this or whether we'll make a start on the daddy-daughter project. But yeah, I'll be just starting to assemble this now. So it's getting pretty close. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already, if you've enjoyed the content, and we'll catch you next time.